Ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very hot on President Emmanuel Macron. Are we going to keep calling him president since he hardly leads no longer a state? It's very hot on him. After the resignation of his first minister, Sébastien Lecornu, it's another of these ministers who resigned, Bruno Le Maire. Yes. So the appointment was heavily criticized. Finally, he said, okay, that's it, I'm off. He left. The others stayed in position. Until now, Emmanuel Macron has not spoken yet. But it's his first minister who wants to resign, continue to carry out the activities of prime minister, while he already has resigned, and that his resignation was accepted by Emmanuel Macron. The worst is that he wants to do what he could do when he was first minister. He is therefore looking for it. So he has sought to reconcile forces dissidents. In any case, he invited all the political forces at Marignon. So at the Prime Minister's office, I think it's... No, that's not the name of their famous pasture, Marignon, to be able to exchange and then find a consensus to enable just to save the presidential chair of Emmanuel Macron. The invitation was extended to all vital forces of the nation to come sit down to find a solution. Yes. However, the only solution that the lives of the French nation know today is the resignation of the President Macron. But be careful, if the President Macron resigns immediately next, it could be very complicated. But that's what the French want. So this is how forces policies, and not the least of which are who really have the majority, which are listened to by the French people, categorically refuse to answer the invitation. Yes, they refused. They declined the invitation. And what wants to say that nothing is going well in France. I tell you, it's karma. If it's the curse, we can say, that's it. Africa's karma hitting hard whip. The old master. Yes. And so, dear ladies and gentlemen, within the framework of this geopolitical conference is this news that we are going to talk about. We're going to dissect it. Share this conference in all groups. Allow others, especially our brothers of Africa, to receive information and understand what is happening on the side of France. Let them understand actually how does it work. System in France. This Emmanuel Macron, who is presented as the very democratic president, how is it treated today by his people? While the rest of us, we spent the whole time on the train to criticize Emmanuel Macron in the process to expose how Macron's foreign policy is very negative. His policy, foreign of course, that of France, are very negative from Africa. Others didn't believe it, not in their eyes. Here it is today, the Macron who has all the problems of world at home in France. And it is necessary, moreover, to say that on the plan, international, all the media are shouting chaos. This is a first. Those who arrive in France, Macron himself, overwhelmed, he fell silent, he no longer spoke. For him, the most important thing is President of the Republic. He was elected. He has a mandate in front of him. He looks at his mandate. But with the way things are going, it must be said that risk of resigning. A small parenthesis. People have used artificial intelligence yesterday, 6th October 2025, to circulate a video in which we see Emmanuel Macron said, well, I don't care. I will resign, or I will leave Burkina, or I am going to Ivory Coast for help search for the black albino. There you go, my dear thing. That was an artificial intelligence video. You have to be very careful, okay? Who did not resign? There you go. And this black albino case, but the President Ibrahimtraoré, did it strong, huh? Who is this albino then? Black? I still want to see the answers. At least it is. Clues, since he finished saying, and then he said, don't ask me, and he told us, put into the work. We will look for the black albino. In the meantime, let's go. In the depths. So it is a power at the end of its tether breath. Sebastian Lucu's call was rejected. But in any state of the race, you are a minister, a prime minister who resigned. What are you basing this on? To invite parliamentarians legally invested with their omission. What are they basing this on? He has no legitimacy, no legality. This is the first observation that must be made. To do. But it must be said that it is a resounding refusal of the Rally National. The party here, it is the political formation, National Rally, rejected absolutely, but the reasons which are released by the RN are very motives powerful. So Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella have refused to answer the call outright of the First Minister of Missionaries. According to Sebastian the Horned, he wanted bring together political forces in Martin, but both Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella, they all refused. And so the displayed pattern, what is it? According to the National Rally, these discussions no longer serve the interests of the French. If he meets to discuss, it will no longer be to serve the interests French people, but only for serve the interests of a clinging president in power, while the people do not want more of him. But the gathering national is right. If he ends up at Matignon, it is for fine voices and means to save the power of Emmanuel Macron. It is not in the interest of the French. And today, thousands of French people do not want Emmanuel Macron to be at the power because all the time, no, we must arm Kiev. No, it is necessary to put in place the coalition of the willing and so on. It is this policy there. It is against this policy that the French people stood up and rises. And to this is added the fact that he makes France lose Africa. It is thanks to Macron that France has lost Africa, it must be said. The Sahel Revolution was born because of him, his attitudes, and he held words that allowed Africans to open their eyes. Today, all French industries which operated in Africa and sent money that replenished the coffers of the French state. Today, all these companies are out, have been chased away. So these returns have been cut off. There is no more money which fits into the budget, which means, say, even if Macron resigns today, France has this karma, another president just has to come. It's fine, keep it up, write it down, keep it and note. Today, we will say, yes, Macron is the problem. Yes, he was the problem. He is the problem. But even if John Bradella only has to come, that will always be the same thing, since the financial sources of entry of the France has been, the sources are tarnished, it's cut, and all that problem there revolves around the budget. It's so Macron had the option of not doing budget cuts and then giving a good budget for France. Macron wasn't going to have any problem, even if he does not have a majority in the Assembly Nationale, even if it does not have a majority in Parliament. That's it. But that's because that he does not have a majority. He cannot not to pass its finance law because its finance law includes budget cuts that the people doesn't want to. So it's from there that he was caught on the thing. He's same prime minister. The latter has dizziness he doesn't understand. He resigns. Another minister also resigns, invites politicians. Politicians refuse. What will the final solution be? France is in a political impasse, never realized. What will the final solution be? So ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, that was the headline. Thank you. To share it as much as possible. I will come back later with news, information. It was, of course, the voice from your humble servant, the Samurai.